Speaking of carrying, we just watched a playoff run just ended a couple of weeks ago. I was in the building for Game 7 against the Hawks, and Joel Embiid was the man trying to get things done, everything done for the Sixers, and we are in a much different spot than I thought we would be at this point, where we're watching the NBA Finals, and obviously the Sixers, which is not a shock to me, but the Sixers are not in the NBA Finals, but the way that the playoffs played out, they would have had at least a shot there to make it to the NBA Finals. What do you think the number one, number two reason is the reason they're not in the NBA Finals right now?
I think the idea that we were going to be able to beat somebody offensively with four guys, I think was a tough ask. And you saw the way the playoffs played out. They really focused on Ben. I think losing Danny Green also hurt you as well, because it's one thing to talk from the bench. It's another thing to talk from the huddle when you're in the mix and you're sweating and you're out there in the middle of the battle in the foxhole. I think those are big, huge things. And, your weaknesses get exposed. And our weakness was, the fact that we had a point guard who was struggling offensively at that time, and they were going to take advantage of it. But I don't want to just say it was all Ben. You mentioned the number two reason. I think guys like Tobias Harris could have stepped up better and played in better games, especially that Game 5, which I thought was pivotal. You want to make the big bucks. If you don't deliver, this is what happens. If you were a $5 million a year guy, you wouldn't be getting this criticism. But more is expected of you because you are in a different echelon of player, and you're asking that people consider you for an all-star. So this is what when you lose, your shortcomings become obvious, and they're also brutal in that the opponent is going to expose that wound. So you saw Scott Brooks in the first round, try to mess with Ben's free throw shooting. And then you saw in the second round, it also happened, and Doc having to deal with it. People forget, Doc is a point guard. He knows what a point guard is supposed to do in the situation he's in with the players around said point guard. So I think he's also been through a learning process, Doc, learning what's in front of him, what he has in Ben and in other guys. And I think now the 76ers, with that realization, I think it's time to perhaps address it.
Okay. Let me ask you this then. Is it salvageable at this point with Ben Simmons? Do you think Ben can come back to Philadelphia? Do you think Ben would improve in Philadelphia? Is it salvageable, the relationship with the Sixers, the rest of the team, and Ben Simmons?
I think the only way is if he comes back after having worked really, really hard on some of the things he needs to work on. I'm reminded of listening to the Lakers Celtics stuff from back in the day. Magic Johnson comes in the league. He gets 42 points and 17 rebounds in Philadelphia in Game 6. And he's on cloud 9, and he says, the thing I worked on all summer long, learning from what I learned my rookie year, was I had to come back and be a better free throw shooter because I had the ball in my hand. So if I wanted to be out on the floor with the ball in my hand, I had to shoot free throws better. And this is after winning a championship and being the man of the championship. He was finals MVP. He crushed on the road. Kareem didn't play. He could have easily just said, I'm good, but he didn't. And I think we need to see some improvement. That's the bottom line. I think, if you're the same player you were years ago, that's not good enough.
I would agree with that. And I'm certainly pulling for Ben. I'm not in the position of I'm not in the position. I'll just to let you know where I'm at. I'm not in the trade him for a rack of basketballs. Like I'm not. I'm like if you're gonna talk to me, if you're gonna talk to me about Dame Lillard, then hey, the cupboard's open. What do you like? If you're gonna talk to me about CJ McCollum, Zach LaVine, any of those guys, hey, we can have a conversation. But it's not an open and shut case. And then today, at the time we tape this on Tuesday, Sham Charania comes out and says that the Sixers have talks open, and right now they're looking for an all-star caliber player in return for Ben. I say to heck with that. You better at least be an all-star if I'm trading Ben Simmons for you.
No, and you don't want to get caught in a position where you don't have any bargaining, chips either. Ben is still a valid commodity out there. Like you said earlier, and I want to reiterate it, we're not bashing the guy. we see so much potential in him. I'm 6'10". I never moved like this gazelle out on the floor moved. And because of that, I think we expect more. And I don't think that's unfair when, again, you talk about the pros, your price tag, your salary, that puts you in a different category. And I think, he just needs, I think, to live up to the potential we see in him. And I think that's unfair at times because we may see something that is unrealistic. At the same time, though, we want to see him striving to get there.
Mm-hmm.